Yeah. Who wants to talk about making money?
Go about.
No spending here. We're making money. Welcome to RIG. This is our first meeting as RIG, and here at our favorite new home, Product Brewing Company. They let us use this room because it's full of all this wonderful multimedia tools and Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. And all they ask you is to eat, drink, tip, and be merry. I think the majority of you guys are first-time visitors, and we love first-time visitors. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The first meeting is always free. After that, we ask you either to pay a membership, a one-year membership, or pay $20 a meeting. And we've got the individual where it's just me by myself. If Sherry and Dave are going in together and partner doing investing, they can do a partnership, save a little bit of money. If you've got a business and you want to be able to promote your products, your services, and maybe have some time up here and have some time as a spot on our website, we ask you to pay $250 and you can post away. And speaking of business members, we have a brand new business member back here tonight. Thank you, sir. Chad. So we'll hear more about Chad and his business. We'll hear it tonight, your introduction. We'll also hear it about it's coming up. And each month we take one of those business members and we have the business member of the month, where that person can come in and talk about the business, what they offer, and we'll advertise it on our Facebook, all our social media, and try to promote it as much as possible. And Steve, is Brad online? Brad, are you on there? No. No, I guess I'll speak to this slide. Brad and Travis is with Invest One Properties. They do turnkey investment. If you're a beginner investment, you don't know anything about it, you want to learn, you can join up with them and they'll help you buy properties and manage. I won't go in too much. They do have a free webinar where they're going to go over about their rentals and retirement plans. And you will learn how to build a free and clear portfolio. 60 months, I've been saying I'm not going to read it. There it is. and private financing. It is coming up Wednesday, October 21st at 6:30 to 8:30. Free via computer, but you must register. And there's the thing. If you want to get this later, let me know and I'll pull it back up, throw it up. Or you take a picture now, like Ray back there is doing. Another proud RIG business member. He was one of our first ones. Ray. I mean, the first one in the new regime. Yeah. There's the herd mentality. There you go. All right.
So the bottom line is I've sort of redirected my work to be really a lot of what Jim is doing and other groups are doing, which is getting people together to network and form a small, consistent community. But this one's a little more focused. If you've ever been involved in any masterminds, what I'm going to be doing and what I've done a little bit already, but will continue, is a real estate investors mastermind group. And that will be, I'll be conducting about 4 groups total. So I'll be limiting it to 28 people max. And the idea is to bring together a small community of 5 to 7 people who meet together consistently, help each other clarify what it is you're trying to get to, keep you on track, keep you productive, and really kind of hold your feet to the fire so that, you kind of promise to each other and to yourselves very clearly what it is you're trying to accomplish with your real estate investment goals. And then you meet monthly and you take very intentional, very well-informed action. And what your group does is help you brainstorm, help you figure out how to meet the challenges that you have, maybe bring resources. And occasionally people even network and partner through their groups. That's not the intention of it. But the idea really is that we can come together regularly, but unless we have a very consistent small community, it kind of keeps us on track and doesn't let us get by with not finishing things. That's what the mastermind group is about. So I'll be sending out some more information relatively soon, probably starting the next series. And once I do that, I'll just close it to the 28 and, we'll repeat it again after that group's over. But that will be starting sometime later, probably later in November, which is a great time to get ready for your plan and kick 2020 in the butt, get it behind us, and keep on moving, even though there have been some great things that have come out. So that's the plan. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Katie.
And I've got my phone number, and you can just, probably the phone number is the best way to contact me, or I still continue a meetup and still continue some group meetings that right now we're kind of focusing on things around racism and inclusivity and equity in housing and real estate investment, which is just kind of a timely topic. So we're doing meetings too.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
For right now, because don't go far, because you're going to be a part of this next part. And I'm also, I didn't introduce myself, but I'm with, I'm Jim. I'm Alliance Solutions Group in LSG Funding, and I do hard money. I started working with this man at IBM for a while, and we were there on campus about 7 years when they asked a lot of us forcibly to leave, and we left, and we had this money. What did we do with it? I started investing in real estate. I've got part owner in some 3 single-family homes, 2 apartment complex, which I got an email on the way here. I got a $5,000 check coming from my apartment. The distribution, that made my day today. So, but I'm doing that. I started taking that fund, and I started out doing private lending. I had that fund sitting there. I had to make it multiply. So I started private lending. And then later I evolved into doing a little hard money brokering. And I don't have a fund, but I broker for other people. I have several funds around the country. We do fix and flip, buy and hold, bridge, refinance, ground up construction. That kind of dried up when COVID hit us. I've got somebody to do that. This is one of my packages, one of my guys. It's a little different. If you'll notice, there's no monthly payments, there's no income, no tax return, no asset, no reserves, and you get your advanced rehab draws in advance. You get your rehab draws in advance. The drawback is you pay a little bit more to get into the deal and get the ball rolling. If you got enough money to get the ball rolling, you don't worry about any payments till the end. If you want to ask me about that later, I can give you some information. I'm going to go too much on. But private lending, that's how I got kind of started in this. And we're going to come back. I've asked him to come up and Mr. Dave to come up. And I'm going to see if I can kill this and get our video cameras up. There is a difference in private money and hard money.
Yes.
About private lending. And these guys I've known for a while now. Katie, she was my introduction to private lending because when I said, hey, I've got this fund, what am I going to do with it? She goes, well, I got this property. I need somebody to invest in. And she does things a little bit different. So I'm going to kind of start with her. And then we're going to talk about you guys and talk about how do you start being a private lender. But I want to start with Katie because she's going to talk about how to be a private borrower and stuff she does. She does it a little bit different. Then we're going to get into kind of more of the norm. But Katie, talk us about how you approached me to loan you money. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, I think one of the things that we tend to say in real estate investment, and I was really just going to pipe in because you've got the pros there. You got Tim, and gosh, you guys are the pros. But I think the first thing I was going to say was that we always talk about how you want to do business with people trust and like, right? And that has been my experience with. I think I've done borrowed probably a dozen or so private loans. And I'm pretty certain that every person I borrowed from was a member of Inc. When Jim and I were running Investors Network Community together, which is, he's now changed into RIG. So, I would say that the way I approached you, Jim, was that, we were working as partners running Inc. We knew each other well. I would just say the things that I did differently was just out of dumb luck. It was purely out of, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I did what I thought I should. I think Nan and I were the first ones that I borrowed from Nan. No, I borrowed a couple before that. But essentially, Jim, I think what you're getting at was that as a borrower, I usually provided the promissory note, drafted the mortgage, And what I think that's what you're referring to, Jim, because earlier you said usually the lender provides those things. What I found was that when I worked with my lenders, I mean, Nan and I, started doing it. I think she'd already done a lot of lending through Pine Financial, but when she was doing it personally, we sat down together and wrote the mortgage and the promissory note and created the terms. And what I found was that in all the people that I've borrowed from, it all looks a little different with each one.
You were my introduction to private lending, so that's kind of want to start with you. One thing about her is she like, hey, I got this property. She did most of the work for me. I knew her. I trust her. My wife's like, do you trust her? Do you know her? Do you know her? I'm like, yeah. We're gonna start to talk to some of the experts now about how you're gonna take your 401k, how you're gonna take your retirement fund, or if you got that estate that you inherited, what to do with it. And we're gonna start out with kind of Tim. We'll go with Tim first. Because he's a mentor, he teaches in the area, he's done it, he's borrowed, he's lent, and he teaches new people how to do it. And then we're going to kind of go around, we're going to talk to Dave.
Hey, Jim, can I add just one more thing, though, to follow up on what you just said? Because one thing that I do feel is keenly important, and especially if you're doing this with a friend or a family member, is it's even more important to have everything in writing. If you want to maintain a relationship, that those documents are, even to me, even more key. And sometimes that's hard because you go, oh, I trust you, but it's, to me, it's even more important to make sure that everything is in writing and it's clear and everybody agrees, because so often we can hear what we think we want to hear. So that's just my 2 cents I want to add in, because I think you and I did have very clear written agreements and contracts, and when we decided to extend the loan, there was an extension written, and so I just want to add that in there.
Yeah. We had a friendly yet business relationship going on.
Absolutely.
Tim, go for it.
I'm going to piggyback off Kathy on that. It is so important when you're dealing with anybody in any type of contract, whether it's a contractor, a sub, a realtor, everywhere you want to be, you put it in writing. And the greatest thing about this country, as of right now, is if 2 people agree on something, they can make it happen. All right? Yes, there's legalese. Yes, there's all kinds of contracts and so forth. But if you agree to trade something for money or for anything else, you can do it with somebody else, as long as they're both informed parties. Okay? Now, I can't go to Vern and trade him roll of tape for a house, because he's got to be informed about that. But if I had a 56 Chevy or 57 Chevy and wanted to trade him for a house, we could probably make an arrangement and do that. And we could exchange, and maybe there's some money involved, who knows. But if you don't put it in writing, that is huge. And the in writing part is really amazing, because listen, I'm a decent guy. I feel like I'm ethical and moral, but my heart goes racing if I get into any gray areas. I get hot, I get sweaty if somebody's after me and mad at me for something. But it's amazing when it's all in black and white, and you can present that as a black and white piece of paper and say, listen, this is the deal. I had a flip I was working on 5 or 6 years ago, and we were 3/4 of the way done, and the lead guy comes to me and goes, so when are you going to get the electrical box changed out? I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, his boss, the GC, told him that I was going to pay for the electrical box. I said, hang on, let's go get the scope of work. Sure enough, the scope of work said, you guys are replacing it. And he didn't have anything to say. He's like, all right. So he called his boss. His boss didn't have anything to say. It was there. So
then you're like, how's tomorrow?
I said, get it done before we get inspected.
Well, I've been lending money for about almost 10 years. I started as a passive investor with Pine Financial. And I think that's a great way to start, because I got to know them as a company, and I trusted them for knowing more than I did about how to get into a good loan and do it safely. And their specialty is using other people's money, OPM. So I'm still working with them on many things, and it's been very lucrative for me. And it's a good way to learn what it's all about, I think. So you might look into them. I know that they're offering some new things right now. But then from there, I decided, well, I can do this on my own too. And so from networking and from friends, Katy was one of the first people that I lent to. And Katy and I are really good friends, but we made sure that we did a lot of paperwork and everything was by the book. And we just wanted to make sure that there was no question, because absolutely we did not want to lose a friendship over this. And so we were very careful. And as she mentioned, the borrower has to have a lot of integrity and make a commitment to that lender. And at the same time, the lender wants to, work with you so they can help you succeed with whatever project you're on. And it works really well. And so I've been doing, I've probably done 50 loans on my own. And usually it's not my money, it's OPM. And so, you have to watch for things like, everyone always wants to know right away, well, what are your terms? Like, how much do you lend for? And I think that can change quite a bit. I mean, I have an average of what I will lend for, but, a lot depends on how experienced is the borrower. What's the location? Is it in the state? Is it a good location here in Colorado? Is it out of state? There are other things like the extent of the rehab. There are so many things involved. And so you can change the terms on that. Or some people want points included in the loan amount. And so there are lots of different creative ways to do it. But I think the key is just, making sure that you have things in writing and that you both understand all the terms right up front. No.
Can I talk about from the borrower perspective? It seems like it's pretty much been from the lender perspective here. But so I used to fix and flip homes. Now I just do land, but I think I did about 25 houses and did several hard money loans, did several partnerships with private money, both as equity partners and as straight debt. I know that if you're getting serious about fixing and flipping, and you're really doing it full time, you need multiple deals going at one time with deals in the pipeline. And so that the difficult thing with hard money, if you don't have cash flow coming in from elsewhere or a bucket to make those payments out of, when you have 5, 6, 7 deals going at one time, or even 3, your monthly payments, your cash out of pocket can be very, very stressful. And so turning to private lenders that will lend to you as an equity split, whatever that split ends up being, 50-50 on the profit, 60-40, whatever, that is a much less stressful situation. Now, your lender is not guaranteed a return. He's in there with you, but he's also getting typically a little higher return. You're paying extra for that money, but you're paying for less stress so that the interest is just accruing. And when you finish the job, you figure out. So you can also take a straight loan with a guaranteed return where the interest accrues and you pay it all then, and hopefully you make money on the deal.
How many people seen this story on the news? Jeff Bezos, 0 to no taxes. It's terrible, isn't it? It's just terrible. Tax cut, we'll just say Trump in 2017 made it easier for big corporations like Amazon, IBM, and Netflix to avoid paying income taxes. Most of the companies, they're almost getting larger rebates than what they're paying. What's so bad about that if you could get away with paying little or no tax? That'd be the topic you would like to have here, talking about how can I, as Jim, hey, may not know, but little tax as much as possible. So that's a subject we're going to talk about coming up. And
It's learn about depreciation as well.
Depreciation don't even play into it. But we're going to talk about how you can manage your business and pay as little taxes. The next month, last month we talked about 1031s. You got a property, you're selling it, pay less tax. You got more money to go do a deal. We talked about private lending, how you can go borrow money, or how you can go lend money. Then once you get money, you're going to get that project, and we're going to do due diligence like we talked about. You're going to get those numbers where they're green, and you're ready to pull the trigger, and we're going to work with contractors. You know, there's a lot of stuff to be leery and be aware of working with contractors. There's great ones, like Ray, where's he? And then there's some that's not so great. Katy?